Today marks 1134th day sharing lessons I learned and continue to learn with all of you. I hope that these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today we speak about identity, who we are, and really actions of what we do. Because I think that a lot of times what we do and who we are, we really put in the same bucket. That means that what we do is who we are. That's not true. That who we are and what we do is sometimes not the same thing. Because who we are is our identity and what we do is our choices. Our choices. And the biggest part is that a lot of times we make those choices not based on our identity. It's not based on who we are. We make those choices based on external things, based on decision-making process that is not based on a really great foundation. So it means that a lot, of course, when people say like who you are, and when people think about who they are, a lot of times we start looking at what do we do on a daily basis. Okay, I do this, I do work, I do sports, I do some arts. Like we always think, okay, what do we do? And of course, based on that, we're able to really give our who we are. Now, the worst case scenario, if you look into what we have, but today I really want to focus a little bit even different topic, looking at who we are and what we do, and for 4 different groups. There's 4 different groups. So there's like people who, like I said, like who we are and what we do, and it's exactly like people say like this is my identity and this is what kind of actions do I take. So those people who align their actions with their identity. Those most times is the most purposeful, the most fulfilled people because they know exactly who they are and they know exactly what kind of actions do you need to take. So they have who they are and they know what do they do, and they have full alignment. Of course, that just brings a lot of joy. Now, second successful group, of course, that could potentially be is that people know who they are, but they know what they do not do, what they don't do. So it means that successful people they know their identity, they know who they are, but they know as well what they don't do. The first group is always know what they do, but they don't understand what they don't do. So second, and sometimes I find that a lot of people who are very, very successful, they focus on the second even more than the first. They don't care as much what you do, what they care about what you don't do. Such a powerful thing. So it means that you know who you are and you know what you don't do. Because like one successful person said that I know that I'm an entrepreneur, so what I don't do. I don't drink, I waste my time, I don't party. There's a lot of list of things that they don't do because they know who they are. So it's a powerful thing. So it means that you're able to know exactly what you do. But I said that so many times when you do great things, but you at the same time do bad things, that means neutralized and you just don't move anywhere. But if you actually know what you don't do and you do the small things that moves you forward, will achieve potentially even more. So I think that group who understands what they don't do and takes away all the things out of the plate sometimes achieve much, much more than people who know what they do, but at the same time, they don't know what they don't do. The third group is that people say again, this is not who I am. That means they know who are they not. And this is an interesting thing that people are like, I'm not that kind of person. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. A lot of times it would be a bad thing because if you say that this is not who I am, so who are you then? Because it's easy to say, this is not who I am, this is not who I am, but who you are. Now, of course, sometimes when an activist say that, okay, I'm not that kind of person. I'm a different kind of person. And then, of course, they know what kind of action do they take. Say, I'm not that kind of person, and this is the kind of action do I take. And that's how I move forward. Now, there's last group is that they know that what kind of person they are not, And at the same time, they really said that this is, I don't take those kind of actions. So they know who and they not, and they know that this is not what kind of action do I take. It's an interesting thing that because now you do not know exactly who you are because you know who you're not. I'm not an employee, I'm not this, I'm not this. They list all the things that they're not, and then they make a list of all the things that they don't do. It's very interesting, tricky situation. I think that sometimes we stuck in that mode that we know all the things about ourselves that we are not. We know all the things that we don't do. But the tricky part because we need to understand that so who we are and what we do. I think that we need to understand that both is very, very essential. We need to understand who we are and we need to understand who we are not. We need to understand what we do and we need to understand what we do not. And I think that when we actually start looking how to understand who we are not, what we do and what we don't do, we're actually able to really maximize our success. Because we make decisions better. We have more clarity. Because when you look into a decision and you say, okay, if I take action, that means that I align with who I am. If I take this action, that means I will do something that I don't do. So that means that you start looking at, okay, like there's a up and lower bar, upper and lower bar. And when you know those bars, so it might be that the line goes up and down, up and down. So that means that it will be between those bars. I think that if we do not have that understanding of who we are not or what we do not do, we don't have a lower bar. And that means that you go to reach that bar, upper bar, and then you go down and reach the bottom because there is no floor, and of course that you fall very flat. And that's why it's very, very important to understand who we are and what we do and who we are not and what we don't do. So I hope this is reflect as well, like how much time do you spend on yourself, understanding what kind of actions do you take, where that leads to, and who you are, because we understand that our identity and being clear about identity really will dictate our behaviors much, much more than actually trying to do the things without understanding who we are and who we are not. So being able to spend some time to reflect on all those 4 things that I mentioned today, and I kept repeating so many times. So the 4 things that we need to always reflect: who we are not, what we do, and what we don't do. And when I think that when we have understanding and clarity on those 4 things, and we have those boundaries, decision-making process will become so much more easy because you know that the decision that you're making is in the line, in between those boundaries. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.